Hi there, this is Danny Kenny from Financial Planner. So today I wanted to create a video here to talk about some recent documents that came out from TD Ameritrade where I custody assets for my clients. So here's the main login screen. Just wanted to start there before I jumped on to another section here. The first thing I wanted to talk about was some recent language that TD just sent out about new rules and updated disclosure agreements for their accounts. So even if you don't have an account at TD Ameritrade, these things would apply to you. It's just this was a trigger for me to create a little video here. So some different things that TD came out to say here on their retirement accounts was there's some recent legislation, the Secure Act, which was in 2019, and the CARES Act, which is related to the coronavirus or the COVID situation we're currently in here in 2020. So to highlight some things here in the middle of the screen, you can see highlights of the Secure Act include some changes to those retirement accounts with regards to contributions. So previously, traditional IRAs, you weren't able to contribute to those accounts beyond age 70. So that's been removed. Doesn't apply to any of my clients. So not much to talk about there. Similarly, required minimum distribution age has been increased to age 72. That'll affect everybody when we get down the line to age 72. Then there's been some changes about beneficiary distributions and distributions for qualified expenses with regards to birth or adoption expenses. So if that's something that you'd like to talk through, I'd be happy to dig into those details with you specifically. Now, some of the more pertinent stuff here is highlights of the CARES Act, which was came out in March this year. So RMDs, those required distributions are they're waived for 2020. So once again, it doesn't apply to any of my planning clients, but interesting thing there to note. And then there's coronavirus related distributions. So that applies to IRAs and workplace retirement plans as well if your employer decides to follow those rules or implement those in their plan. So there's a little bit more leeway about distributions from those accounts and flexibility in repayment there you could see in that final line. So not sure if you've received this communication from TD, if you've got accounts there, or if you're at Schwab or Fidelity, you're likely to receive something from them as well because they're kind of speaking to these changes in their agreements for these accounts. So that's the first piece of documentation. The other one was if you can, so here's this other form talking about the Form CRS, Customer Relationship Summary form. So this came out from TD Ameritrade recently. I believe I actually got one in the mail. I found this online. I'll put links to both of these documents in the notes for the video down below. But anyway, Form CRS is related to the SEC or the Securities Exchange Commission recent guidance or legal documentation that's in relation to regulation best interest. So while we've always had this terminology of fiduciary, right? I'm a fiduciary advisor, meaning I'm always working in your best interest. If there's a conflict of interest, it's my legal duty to disclose that and work to resolve it in your favor. Well, now there's this new idea of regulation best interest, which there's been some legal wrangling about this as well, but essentially this allows non-fiduciary advisors to provide fiduciary advice in a portion of their business, but not the whole business. So that's what the legal fight was about. Unfortunately, XY Planning Network, of which I'm a member, they fought this battle and lost in the courts recently, about a month ago or so. But anyway, this is now the law of the land. It's been implemented, as you can see, effective the middle of this year. But anyway, what this applies to is SEC registered firms, and really those are large firms, 100 million or more in assets under management. So I'm not under those rules. So I'm under the state law. So I'm registered in the state of Virginia, and we don't need to provide this Form CRS to our clients. But in any event, I wanted to walk through what it says for TD Ameritrade and kind of give you my specific answers about my firm. So what investment service and advice do you provide? So I provide investment advisory, investment management services for some clients. And that includes security selection, implementation, talking about asset allocation. All of that is kind of rolled up into the financial planning side. Actual implementation of trades, rebalancing, that kind of stuff falls under the actual asset management portion of my business. So that's the difference there. TD Ameritrade goes into what their brokerage offers and what are advisors that are actual TD Ameritrade advisors or captive advisors from them. So that's not really applicable to me. So kind of explaining that there. What fees will I pay? So the only way that I get paid through the fiduciary relationship that I have with my clients is from the client. So I get paid either via the monthly retainer fee that the client is paying, an hourly based engagement if that's what we have arranged. I'm trying to phase or move away from that sort of engagement with clients because I've seen issues with that in the past. And finally is the AUM model, or the assets under management model. So if we've talked about this, then you know that under the current planning or continued quarterly or the continued monthly retainer model, I manage the first $250,000 of assets for no cost. Above that, I charge 0.5% on those assets to manage and implement those investment recommendations for you. So those are really the only ways that I get paid. So it's pretty straightforward. TD has quite a bit of information about how they get paid. So in the relationship that I have with TD, I don't get paid by them. Any cost that you might have would be just a ticket charge or a trade fee. That would really nowadays only apply to select mutual funds. So trading stocks or ETFs, there's no ticket charges anymore. What legal obligations to me or to the client do I have? So that fiduciary rule or fiduciary standard that I mentioned earlier, that is a legally binding agreement. So if I were to not stick to that fiduciary rule or standard, then I could be held legally accountable. So pretty cut and dry there. I don't need 20 paragraphs to explain that one. How do you make money? We talked about that, or I mentioned that a little bit ago. Only paid by my clients. No back end, payments or anything like that. So, and then do I have any legal or disciplinary history? No, I don't. Everything's clean there. That you can search my record on the CFP board or broker check or anything like that. I don't have any disciplinary record at all. And then additional information, some stuff. Who is my primary contact person? That's me. So, happy to talk to you about anything with regards to your financial plan, this Form CRS, how I've answered any of these questions, happy to do so. So please reach out. I'll have my contact information in the the description of this video as well. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.